we present the richest show jumping event here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. It is class number 886, the Sydney Royal Easter Show Grand Prix, proudly supported by Winning Appliances and Appliances Online. We welcome our first rider out. From out here at Mulgoa, it is the one and the only Tom McDermott, and he is riding DIAMONT. They've had a great success here at this year's show, a relatively young combination, DIAMONT. Monty is, she's known around the stables. They won class number 856 here a few days ago. They have been down the leaderboard each day, but right amongst it, 7th place in class number 858. They're taking on the course set by Mr. Werner Deeg. They are travelling at 350 metres per minute. The length of the course, 490 metres. The time allowed, 84 seconds. This is a 2-round competition run under Article 273. 3.3.1. The winner of the class will be the horse rider combination with the least number of penalties over the 2 rounds of competition and the quickest time in the 2nd round. We can see our course designer, Mr. Werner Deeg, international course designer with the FEI from Germany, and he has been out here all week long. Watching intently as we watch the first of our combinations, former Australian junior, young rider and senior show jumping champion, the recipient of the FEI Rising Star Award. It is Tom McDermott, and he is riding DIAMONT. To all those watching on the live stream, let me tell you, this camera doesn't do justice. What a beautiful show we have had here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. And I must say, next year, book your tickets already to be here. It is a world-class event. But look at this, Tom McDermott. 2 fences left to go. He comes down to the final fence, takes a little hold to the last. Hey, Sydney, put your hands together. What a way to start Grand Prix show jumping. 78.22, 78.22. Time allowed, 84 seconds. No jumping penalties, no time penalties. Tom McDermott guarantees himself a spot in the 2nd round of competition with a faultless round. No jumping penalties, no time penalties, and all clear to be our first clear round. Well, what a way to start our Grand Prix show jumping event here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. Mr. Werner Deeg out there in the middle of the arena gives a nod of approval to Tom. What a great ride it was. Tom completes on the best possible score of 0. Well, from the master to the apprentice, we now welcome out here to centre stage a young lady from Bow Desert in southeast Queensland. She trains when she's down here in New South Wales with Tom McDermott and Greg and Jenny from Fernhill Equestrian. It is Brooke LANGBECKER. She is just 21 years of age. Last year in the World Cup Series, the 2017 World Cup Series, she finished in the top 10 in every one of the World Cups that she started in. And that was her first ever attempt at a World Cup Series. Jumping at Grand Prix level here today, she rides the sensational Warm Blood Stallion that's off the back of a tour of New Zealand, where they had huge success jumping in all of the major Grand Prix events at the Horse of the Year show. It is great to welcome to centre stage Brooke LANGBECKER, QUINTAGO 1. The sport of show jumping, the object of the game is to stay on that score of 0. Penalties are incurred if you exceed the time allowed, or if you alter the height or the width of any of the fences. Exceed the time allowed, you get 1 time penalty for every 4 seconds or part thereof over the time allowed. Knock a rail down and you pick up 4 jumping penalties. We will take a percentage of the field or all our clears back. Be somewhere around, I think, the 8 or 10 from the first round, but we will get the confirmation from our chief steward and master in charge of show jumping, Mr. Brett Davey, as the class continues on. Brooke LANGBECKER, 1 line left to go. This is an international standard course that we are seeing here. Safely on the last, stops the clock, 81.35, 81.35. 2 rails down, 8 jumping penalties, no time penalties, a total of 8 for Brooke LANGBECKER, QUINTAGO 1. Well, next out into the arena, we welcome now Kate HINSCHEN, riding CHIRONIC, Dominant Visage. CD Visage, Dommy as he's known around the stables. Sired by COPABELLA Visage, bred by Tom Doyle, the flying vet from the Sunshine Coast, and now owned and ridden by Kate. Great to welcome Kate here to the Sydney Royal Easter Show. She trains with George Sanner, a professional show jumping rider, and at CD Visage, second in the World Cup qualifier at Tamworth World Cup show in 2017, finishing in the top 10 in many of our big Grand Prix shows. Represented Australia in New Zealand last year at Equitana, Auckland, where she won and placed fourth in 2 of her competitions. CD Visage and Kate HINSCHEN, the combination currently on course. 2 riders having completed. Tom McDermott on 4 and Brooke on clear, and Brooke LANGBECKER on 8 jumping penalties.
Well, Tim, around the rest of Spotless Stadium, we're watching 2 championship classes currently. The Australian National Champion Hack class being judged by Mrs. Helen Page, and in front of the Sinclair stand, being judged by Ms. Julie Butler, the Australian National Champion Pony Hack, over 12.2 and not exceeding 14 hands.
So carrying the 8 jumping penalties safely over the last. CD Visage, CHIRONIC, Dominant Visage, Kate HINSCHEN, just the 2 rails down. Great ride from the young gun. 8 jumping penalties, no time penalties, a total of 8. So we will take a percentage of the field back, so I don't think that that'll rule her out by any means. Really will now rely on how the rest of the competition go. It's a 2-round class, so it means we will take our top competitors from the first round back. We'll seed them on penalties and time from the first round to give us the order of going for the second round of competition. Next out into the arena, we now welcome Stephen Hill. And Stephen riding YALAMBI'S BELLINI Star. Had a win here in a tough competition early on in the show. And they are a big-time player. Stephen Hill from Clunes, just outside of Ballarat in Victoria. And he rides Bella, and she's known around the stables. YALAMBI'S BELLINI Star, warm-blood mare by ASB Conquistador, bred by Rory Hovell from Western Australia, and a top international representative. Stephen having been to Europe with this horse and ridden for Australia at Nations Cup level. And he and his wife Amanda deciding to bring Bella home and continue her career here in Australia. International rider Stephen Hill riding YALAMBI'S BELLINI Star. Safely over the last, 4 jumping penalties, 75.84, 75.84, under the time allowed of 84 seconds. Just the 1 rail down, 4 jumping penalties, it's that treble combination. Mr. Werner Deeg said in our chat before the class started that he put that combination there after watching these horses go. He's asking them to be a little careful out. Oxer, 2 non-jumping strides, Oxer, 1 non-jumping stride vertical. The distance there, he is trying to test the scope and power. Our course designer, his job is to try and build a course tough enough that he can get the best horse on the day to win the competition. So although our judge oversees the scoring, a lot of the competition is done between the course designer and the riders. The course designer, he goes out and measures the distance. He places the fences where he feels are appropriate. The riders walk the course, but the first time the horses see where they are is when they come out here with their rider. It's very much a skill of horseman and horsewomanship. horsemanship. And we move straight now on to number 6 in the draw. This is Ali Lamb. Ali is riding Diamond B Corsica. And haven't they had a wonderful show? We've seen them up in the placings in a couple of occasions. Diamond B Corsica, a half a brother to the horse that we just saw by ASB Conquistador also. And Diamond B Corsica and Ali Lamb had a third placing here the other day in a very tough jump-off class number 858. Andrew and Ali Lamb travel to the shows as a husband and wife. They run at Dairy on the East Gippsland. Just a little bit of a miscommunication to the Oxer. You'll see those rails fall out of the way very easily. They're carrying just the 8 jumping penalties at this stage.
Well, Tim, as I mentioned before, we're currently judging the Australian National Champion Pony Hack over 12.2 and not exceeding 14 hands. The champion will be the recipient of the A.R. Pullman Perpetual Trophy donated by Mr. Grant R. Pullman, first presented here back in 1980. And the Pullman family has been associated with the Royal Easter Show for 5 generations.
Two rails down, 8 jumping penalties. 2 rails in a row. Isn't that interesting? 5B, 5C and 6. Other than that, faultless. Ali giving Diamond B Corsica a big pat on the neck. 8 jumping penalties, no time penalties, a total of 8. Well, our next rider out into the arena. She didn't come good with the money. This was the young lady that was going to pay me not to say anything if you were here earlier today. But we couldn't not introduce our international guest from New Zealand. Just outside of Auckland, we welcome out to centre stage, number 7 in the draw. A young lady who's no stranger to here in Sydney, having spent 12 months working and learning from one of Australia's top coaches, Mr. Rod Brown. She rides a horse bred by New Zealand performance horses, Walker and Juliet Hansen from Hawke's Bay in New Zealand. And it is great to welcome Lily Tootill, representing New Zealand, and she is riding Ulysses NZPH. Coming down to the final fence. Safely over the last. Oh, late rail falls there. So that'll be 16 jumping penalties. 78.78 the time taken. 78.78. 68. 16 jumping penalties. No time penalties. A total of 16 for Lily Tootill and Ulysses NZPH. Well, the winner of the EFA Perpetual Cup makes his way now down to centre stage. Having watched his wife complete her round, it is great to welcome Andrew Lamb riding CP Argento. You'll see this horse go. He's a little unorthodox in how he goes, but our judge, Mr. Ho Na Yu from Singapore, international judge, does not judge style, form, presentation or how neatly a horse jumps a fence, just whether it jumps it cleanly or knocks it down. So our next rider into the arena, we welcome dairy farmer from Denison, the milkmaid himself. It is Andrew Lamb, and he is riding number 8 in the draw, CP Argento. At this stage of the competition, Tom McDermott, DIAMONT is clear round. Brooke LANGBECKER and Kate Hinschen and Ali Lamb are all on 8 jumping penalties. And Stephen Hill, YALAMBI'S Bellini star, currently sitting on 4. So a clear round will guarantee yourself a spot into the second round. The fault riders with faults will have to wait patiently to see whether they are invited back to the second round of competition. On course now, we are up to number 8 in the draw. This is Andrew Lamb, CP Argento. Andrew Lamb comes down to the final fence. Hey, safely over the last. That's our second clear round. 82.24. Boy, is he on song here this week. CP Argento was not going to touch anything. He turned himself inside out to make sure they jumped them cleanly. Great ride from Andrew Lamb and CP Argento. That is our second clear round, and he will guarantee himself a spot into the second round. Have a look at the time, just fractionally slower than Tom, so he'll come out before Tom McDermott in the second round of going. Lovely that he stops to talk to his son there, Joel. And great to have Joel down here watching Mum and Dad on. And very much a family affair. Well, another young lady watching intently from the sideline. A great supporter of her parents. We welcome now Lacey Jenkins to the main arena. And she's watching her dad, Stuart Jenkins, compete down here. It's a pity that we couldn't find a camera and put it on Stewie's wife, Becky, because she is amazing to watch from the sideline. An international rider herself. But whenever her husband's on course, she jumps and rides and hurls and curls herself around, making sure that he jumps cleanly. And it is very exciting to say that Stewie has stolen the ride back from his wife, because they are expecting another child. So Lacey going to be a big sister to either a brother or sister in later this year. And so Stuart picks up the ride on Becky's horse, RSB JACANA, or Mia, as she's known around the stables. They come to us from Marlborough, just outside of, just in southeast Queensland, right between Gold Coast and Brisbane, out near Gatton. Stewie, an electrical engineer by trade, show jumper extraordinaire. He rides the mare, RSB JACANA, first won her first World Cup back in 2011. In 2018, 7 years later, still maintaining and competing at international level. Stuart Jenkins with Becky Jenkins' nomination of RSB JACANA. Oh, a rail down at the last, 16 jumping penalties, no time penalties, a total of 16 for Stuart Jenkins and RSB JACANA. Next out into the arena, we welcome number 11 in the draw with number 10 not turning up. So we go straight on to number 11. It is great to welcome Tallara Cameron down here to centre stage, and she rides COPABELLA VERDI. We've already seen a half-brother to COPABELLA VERDI competing here in CHIRONIC Dominant VISAGE, both sharing the same father in COPABELLA VISAGE. COPABELLA VERDI, owned by Tallara and Dave Cameron and ridden by Tallara. And this combination really have stepped up here this week. They have a wonderful system, Tal and her husband Dave. I did say to Tally the other day, you want to be careful. This horse is going very well, and Dave is short of a Grand Prix horse. But no, they run a very good system. They work as a team, both top trainers, top riders, and they have a big team of competitors that they take to shows all around the country out at Red Leaf Stables. COPABELLA VERDI, Gremlin as he's known around the stables, actually started his career as an eventer. He got right through to 2-star, top dressage and cross-country. But with Tal and Dave spending more and more time at show jumping events, Tal said, well, I don't have another horse that's jumping this level, so Grems, it's time to step up. And he certainly has. To jump in a World Cup qualifier, in which he has, and Grand Prix and Part 1 here at Sydney, it is no mean feat. There's a handful of horses in the country that are up to this level, and he is certainly one of them. Execution extraordinaire. What a ride from Tally Cameron. 4 jumping penalties, 82.41. No time penalties, a total of 4. And that will rank her at this stage into 4th place. You'd have to think, with only 2 clear rounds, that she will be here for the second round. I don't want to jinx or curse anyone, but what a great effort. Just that one fence down early on in the course. 4 jumping penalties. No time penalties, a total of 4. Well, we just have 4 riders and 4 horses left to go as we welcome out now the winner of the Silver Fern in New Zealand, second in the Olympic Cup at the Horse of the Year show, the leading Group A Section 1 horse and rider here for 2018. He is placed in every one of our Group A Section 1 competitions. He picks up a third, a second, and a second in our 4 classes. 4 starts for 4 ribbons. An amazing effort. From a young horse, it's wonderful to welcome the breeders of this horse, Grant and Heather Hughes, down here to centre stage today. Great to see you here, Grant and Heather and Alyssa. And also wonderful to see the Beresfords. Grant and Warren actually grew up together and they're really good mates. And when Clint finished school, he took a year off and decided he was going to pursue a dream of show jumping, and lived and worked with Grant and Heather up there at Forest Park Riding School in Canberra. While there, Jason, as he's known around the stables, was a young horse. I think he was about 4 years of age. And Clint took a liking to him. So Warren, Clint's dad, purchased him, and they have gone right through to win the World Cup Series in 2016, leading Group A Section 1 horse in 2018. Comes down to the final fence. Clint takes a hold. Safely over the last. Stops the clock. 79.19. 79.19. That'll put him into 4th place. Just the 1 rail down. 4 jumping penalties. No time penalties. A total of 4 for Emmaville Jitterbug and Clint Beresford.
Well, Tim, as I mentioned earlier, the Australian National Champion Pony Hack is being judged over 12.2 and not exceeding 14 hands. The trophy, the A.R. Pullman Perpetual Trophy, is up for grabs, donated by Mr. Grant R. Pullman, first presented here in 1980, and the Pullman family in 5 years of contribution to the Royal Easter Show.
Am I right in saying that
A.R. Pullman belonged to the 3rd generation of that family and played arguably the most significant role, particularly in relation to the pony classes here at the show. Samuel Pullman, his grandfather, the grandfather of A.R. Pullman, judged the machinery section here at Sydney Royal at the first Sydney Exposition, which was the forerunner to the Royal Easter Show. And Percy Pullman, father of A.R. Pullman, regularly exhibited here in the harness section, once winning champion harness horse.
Second last competitor is on course now. We welcome to centre stage Gabriel Kuna riding Chuggy Equestrian nomination of Sierra Casiago, bred by Kerry Parker, purchased by Chris. This horse has been to Europe and now come back to Australia. The high flyer, Sierra Casiago. Number 14 in the draw. Still just the 2 clear rounds, Tom McDermott and Andrew Lamb. We have 3 riders on 4 jumping penalties. YALAMBI'S Bellini Star, Clint and Stephen Hill, Clint Beresford, EMMAVILLE Jitterbug, and TALLARA Cameron and COPABELLA VERDI.
Well, Arthur Renwick Pullman, the A.R. Pullman, after which the trophy is named, was known as Bill. He was a member of the committee of the Australian Pony Stud Book in its formative stages, and his wife Linda and he operated one of the earliest Australian pony studs, the Renallan Pony Stud, which bred and showed ponies with great success for many years.
Gabby Kuna comes down to the final fence. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, put your hands together. 79.91. That is our 3rd clear round. No jumping penalties, no time penalties, and all clear, meaning she will definitely come back to the 2nd round of competition. And that is an amazing effort. As we welcome out now our final competitor, Olympian Russell Johnson, and he is riding DAPRICE. DAPRICE owned by the McCann family partnership from Geelong, and ridden by our Whittlesea Showjumper, Mr. Showjumping himself. In this, the Sydney Royal Easter Show Grand Prix, proudly supported by the one and only Winning Appliances.
Well, bringing you the results now of the Australian National Champion Pony Hack over 12.2, not exceeding 14 hands. Congratulations, our champion is catalogue number 2329 ACM Ballerina, Leah Walsh and SJM Equine's nomination from Inverell, ACM Ballerina.
They have now etched their name in history forever and a day on the A.R. Pullman Perpetual Trophy. Of course, Mr. Pullman was a wonderful supporter here of the Sydney Royal Easter Show, donated by Mr. Grant R. Pullman and first presented in 1980. The Pullman family have been associated with the Royal Easter Show for 5 generations. A.R. Pullman belonged to the 3rd generation of the family and played a most significant role, particularly in relation to pony classes here at the show.
And our reserve champion, Australian National Pony Hack, catalogue number 1615, Argyle Harmony, Dr. Andrew and Charlotte Hunt's nomination from Kangarilla in South Australia.
Well, if we look at the history of this competition, in 2017, Mr. Darren Telford won it with Whitmere Top Model. Paul Austin, Mark Lilly and Janice Elliott with Miss Universe in 2016. 2015, GT, EM Jerry and DM Telford nomination with Beckworth at Morning Symphony. And also we go right back to 2013, Graham and Julie Crisp of Holly's Work of Art. Of course, we'll just come back to that in a moment because that is a clear round, 81.43. That is our 4th clear round. No jumping penalties, no time penalties, and all clear. And what an amazing class that we are seeing unfold here today. And well done to our champion and reserve champion.
Yes, well, the Pullmans had a huge contribution on the show over 5 generations. In the late 1940s, Mr. A.R. Pullman turned his attention to judging, and he was a steward here at the Royal Agricultural Society horse section. He showed a great diversity of his knowledge of horses. He did small horses, large horses, ridden, led, driven, all at the Royal Easter Show. And one of his favourite stories, Tim, was to tell of the occasion when the judge for the baker's cart didn't turn up, and Mr. Pullman immediately volunteered to judge that class because at that time it was the only class in the main arena he hadn't judged.
Well, there you go.
There you go. And Mr. Poorman's son, Mr. Grant Poorman, was an honorary vet surgeon here at the RAS for 20 years between 1973 and 1992, and he donated the trophy. He and his wife and his children have exhibited here at the Royal Easter Show.
And what a beautiful shot of that lovely pony down there. They received the prize card, and it is always lovely to win a ribbon at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. To win a blue ribbon, well, that is truly world class, and to win a champion here books a spot for Grand Nationals next year, but gets to go, more importantly, away with the accolade. One of the most prestigious, we believe the most prestigious royal show of anywhere in the world.
What you mean? Yeah. Okay.
Well, we can see that beautiful champion parading off here as they come past. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. What a beautiful exhibit down here and parading in front of the grandstand. In the show jumping, Lindsay Douglas, we will have a rebuild, a rewalk, and we'll find out exactly who's coming back for the second round. The second round of competition will commence at 4:40 p.m.
Well, that A.R. Poorman Perpetual Trophy,
Okay, thank you.
we just saw the presentation of it there. In previous years, it's been won by Mr. Darren Telford in 2017 with Whitmere Top Model. In 2016, it was the Austin, Lily and Elliott combination with Miss Universe.